Have you ever wondered why pain is necessary in life? Is it a punishment? Is it an initiation process? Why does pain come before purpose? Why does my challenge come before my epiphany? Okay, so I'm going to get into that today. I'm Carrie Blazer Buzaglo. I am the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, the divine feminine. There's a whole in my description below, it takes you through all last year, second coming, and other things that I've been doing, my book. And but today I'm going to talk about why pain is necessary for personal growth, and it's not punishment. It's initiation process so that we can learn how to operate our souls. We're souls having a human experience. Souls are energy bodies proven by physicists like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton. Okay. Um, so when we see ourselves as a soul, and how do I operate my soul? I think, well, how does souls communicate? Well, our souls communicate to us through our nervous system. From our heart, they come out through our heart, like heart and soul, and the nervous system in our hearts is far more complex than the nervous system in our brains, and sends far more signals to our brains than the other way around. The electromagnetic field around your heart is 5,000 times stronger than your brain. Okay, so I had 35 years of debilitating lower back pain. I had severe childhood trauma, and my lower back just screamed at me from the time I was 15 and a half until I was about 50. And when I was 50, I had healed enough to turn the self-hate in my womb into self-love and not be in excruciating pain every day. So about a year before that, my intuition showed me wisdom, which is part of kind of like what all that pain, I had to have all that pain to have an opportunity to learn from it. And what did I learn? Pain is beautiful because it reveals what longs to be healed. Like there's conditions where people do not experience pain, and those people hurt themselves constantly because pain is communication. That's all, it's communication. There's this going on, there's that going on. Oh, I broke my foot, I better fix it. Communication. It's not a punishment. Okay. So I had to get really right with myself that pain is an initiation process. And one example I have of that came with something that I did with a shaman I was working with. She had been raped by Jeffrey Epstein when she was 7 years old. Okay, and I knew that, and so I have a video showing how she and I helped Jeffrey Epstein's soul. She had to surrender to her emotional pain, find the wisdom out of that, and forgive the man and forgive herself for holding on to that pain. And let's kind of, see what happened, how much challenge it took between the two of us to help such a powerful soul. Because a lot of people hate people like Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve to go to jail. What I'm saying at a soul level is it's very difficult to take on that level of challenge, abuse that many people, manipulate that many people, and keep going in life and still be successful at life. So let me share my screen and do side by side, and I will bring up his video. Here we go. So about 3 years ago, another healer and I that I was working with helped Jeffrey Epstein's soul go into the light, go to heaven. So it's an interesting story, so I'll tell it. And just the way it happened was fascinating. I had an appointment with her, and about a couple hours before the appointment, Jeffrey waved to me from heaven. I was like, okay, hey, what's up? And I knew that he had raped her when she was about 7 years old at one of those kind of like sex parties in DC. And he was about 17, 18. And he raped her to about an inch of her life. And so, yeah, she remembers. And then he's all over the news, and she knew it was him, and such. And so when he kind of got my attention from the other side, I knew. I'm like, okay, well, I'm close with her, and so it just made sense to me. And
as a shaman, we kind of consider souls to be, like people kind of, oh, well, we're connected, so of course they reached out. We have full conversations. I know it sounds weird. Okay. So about an hour into the session, I finally remembered to mention that to her, that that he had kind of waved from the other side. So she kind of went into the dimensions and located him in a very just unfortunate situation, which, okay, yeah, I mean, he had been in that role for about 20 lifetimes, and the negative energy around him, it was intense, to say the least. So she pulled out, which she never does. She's so powerful. And then she took us both back in, because both of our souls were necessary to be powerful enough to release him from his entrapment and get him over to heaven. And it felt like 5 minutes, but it was like an hour. And when she started trying to get him out, of course, all of the negative energies, the negative souls that he was working with to do all this work over so many lifetimes, were trying to prevent that, and then they tried to come for us. And this was fascinating. So I'm on the table, and she's working on my shoulders, and I could feel my solar plexus chakra, which is, right at the top of your abdomen, kind of light up and start to pull. And I could feel their negative energy pull on me, and almost all of my back came up off the table, and they were trying to take my power. Our personal powers are our solar plexus chakra, and so they were trying to take that power. I know in Harry Potter they show the soul come out of the mouth, but in this situation they were trying to take my power, because that's what we were using to help Jeffrey soul go over to heaven. And my back came off the table. I'm like, what the? If I hadn't experienced it, I would never have believed it, seriously. So it took a long time for her to extract him, release him, get him to be strong enough, and then go over, into the light. And this is an example of forgiveness that will resonate me for the rest of my life, and it really helped her as a final step release that emotional pain that he had caused, because he raped her into an inch of her life. And he had done it over several lifetimes. And one of her soul's purpose is to shed light on those kinds of events. And so forgiveness, it's always about you. It's always helpful for you to forgive. When you release that negative energy inside of you, then you have more love inside of you.
So I'm going to stop. I think we're at the end. So as you hear that, she had to go through that for her soul's purpose, I said. Part of her soul's purpose is to shine light on those, eyes wide shut type of sex parties. Well, how can she shine light in those parties unless she's in those parties, unless she experiences those parties, unless she understands? If she's not in there, you can't shine light on something you're not in. Right? Like I'm shining light on the rape wound. And that's one of the reasons I attracted Andrew Tate into my life. And I had to accept that I had a fear of being raped. So I would attract men who feared doing the raping, because that's a combination so we can see ourselves in every moment. So from a soul teaching me a lesson perspective, rape isn't wrong. But in the physical world, of course, rapists go to jail, and I support that. But these, from a soul level, this is how we learn our lessons. This is how we see the parts of ourselves that we hate through these very challenging initiation processes. Okay, so, I quote Winston Churchill, who said, "It is said, famous men are often the product of an unhappy childhood." Well, if a famous man wants to be able to lead and accomplish and do the unbelievable, then he's going to start with an unbelievably challenging childhood to teach him that, or her, that pain is an initiation process, that you got to work through the challenge. You got to face your fears. Like Carl Jung said, where your fear is, there is your task. Okay. So we're not here for life to be easy. We're here for the challenges, to learn the lessons, and come out more emotionally mature on the other side. All right. So please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.